So you're probably at least somewhat familiar with the 2,000-year-old story of Christmas, but I want to highlight my favorite part of the story that often gets overlooked, and I think you'll find it pretty helpful if you're a creator. The Christmas story is one about humble beginnings, about how Jesus came into the world, not in a castle or a mansion, but in a barn, born and laid in a manger. And we've all probably seen a nativity scene that had all the different characters. You had Mary and Joseph and little baby Jesus there in the middle, and then you've got all sorts of farm animals and shepherds and these three wise men, these three kings as well, who have shown up to pay the respects and offer gifts. But the truth is, the three wise men, the kings, weren't actually there the night Jesus was born. And depending on which story you prescribe to, they didn't show up for at least 2 weeks and maybe not even for a couple of years to see Jesus. So the people who got to see him first, right after his parents, were shepherds. And I want to focus on that part of the story. You see, these shepherds were nothing special. They were actually nobodies based on that day, that time, that culture, and that custom. Because as a shepherd, you weren't really able to participate in a lot of Jewish society. You were perpetually unclean, as you were always dealing with blood and excrement and dirt and all sorts of other things that just kind of put you on the outside looking in when it came to religious holidays and festivals and things like that. And when it came to current events or things happening that pertain to Jewish society, a lot of times the shepherds would be the last to know because they lived outside the city walls, and they never came into synagogue. They weren't able to take a day off. Shepherding is a 7-day-a-week kind of thing. It's not like you can look at the sheep and be like, all right, guys, I'll see y'all later. I'll see y'all tomorrow, because the wolves in that area would be like, no, you won't. So when Jesus is born, the last people you would ever expect to find out first about it are shepherds, these outsiders, these nobodies. And can you imagine just for a moment what it would have been like to be one of those shepherds? Because as the story goes, these guys are just tending their sheep. It's late, it's dark. They're just kind of, probably getting ready to go to sleep, maybe already asleep. And then all of a sudden, this giant host of angels just appears out of thin air, and it's blindingly bright, and they're singing, and they're talking to these guys, and they freak out, obviously, like we all would, and they fall down on their faces, and they think they're going to die. But then an angel comes to them and says, "Fear not, I bring you good news that will bring great joy." And these shepherds find out that they get to go be part of something special. And so they get up and they make their way over to the barn, to the manger, where they find a baby and his parents. And it's just this kind of ridiculous moment in human history, and the last people that would ever expect to be there, and the last people that society would ever expect to be there, are these shepherds, these outsiders, these folks that often get forgotten, that aren't really much of anyone to speak of. And I don't know about you, but I find a lot of hope in that. I find a lot of hope in the fact that the kings didn't show up for a lot longer, that the people that got to be there first, they got to experience the Christmas story before anybody else, were the nobodies, were the outsiders, were the folks that had been cast aside by society. It's a story about humble beginnings for people of humble beginnings. And this story draws me in personally because I'm a nobody. I grew up in a single-wide trailer. My mom worked in a cotton mill. My dad worked in a tire factory. I come from humble beginnings. But the Christmas story teaches me that I can be part of something bigger than myself, that I shouldn't ask, why me? I should ask, why not me? It teaches me that the outsiders, that the people that society neglects or has forgotten, they can be the ones to show up first, to be part of something special. And I firmly believe it's people you've never even heard of that are making the biggest difference in the world. I know that the billionaires and the elites and the folks with a zillion Instagram followers, they get all the press and the notoriety, but it's folks you've never heard their name, never will hear their name, that are actually making an impact for good on the planet. And so if you're looking in the mirror right now thinking that you're a nobody, that there's nothing special about you, or you don't have much to offer, maybe that just means you're in exactly the right position you need to be in to make a difference, to make a real impact, to do something that actually is special in the world. I mean, the story of Christmas is the story of God himself telling the kings to wait and letting the shepherds come in first. In this Christmas season, if you think you don't have anything to offer, I just want to encourage you. I just want you to realize that you have the opportunity to be part of a story bigger than yourself, and to realize that creativity is a gift that you've been given to share with other people, to draw them in to that story. So Merry Christmas, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.